What's up, football fans, wherever you may be, however you may be watching? Thank you for giving me a little bit of your time. It's going to be just me starting solo for the first few minutes as I am waiting for other fantasy footballers in my league that want to talk shit about how bad they did on fantasy football, just as bad as I did. You guys can see my record right there. Yeah, 0-1 in the money league, 0-1 in the YouTube league was a bad week for me. So many levels. Actually, my money league wasn't terrible. The money league, I ran up against somebody with a big week, and that was the biggest problem. And also, of course, a slew of injuries kind of screwed my whole thing up. But anyway, we're gonna be talking about that. Tex is gonna be on here a little bit. I don't know who else is gonna pop on. Casey probably will, because he's been begging to get on my channel for months now. So we'll probably let Casey on here too, if he can find the link that I put in our dedicated Twitter chat room. But yeah, I did not do well this week. Let me pull up go to fan tracks. We'll start with that one. Forgive me for being a little haphazard to some of this shit. I was watching a movie instead of getting the stream together properly. Let's see. Yeah, I lost Elijah Mitchell to injury, which really sucks because he's out for 2 months now with the strained MCL. We'll go to the YouTube league first, and then I'll show you guys my money league. Actually, my money league, I put up good points. I caught my buddy Nick on his big week. He put up like 160 points. What did he put up? He put up, let's see. I'm checking on my phone real quick since that's going to load a lot faster. What I wanted. Matchup. I find all my shit, but we'll start with I guess we'll start with my Fantrax league, since that actually came up first, and let me do a little bit of screen share magic so you guys can see what the hell I'm talking about as I wait for other people. Share screen. Fantrax. And I am now hopefully sharing that with you. There we go. So now you guys can see, here's my Fantrax league. And yes, I did lose to Mellow Yellow, which is the Wish.com Mountain Dew. He got me pretty good. Let me go back and look at my scores. Can I go look at last week's? This is a new site that I'm still learning how to work with. Let's see. Standings. You can see me there, 10th in week 1. I scored 81.3 points. That was not good enough. It was not good at all compared to Mellow Yellow, who only beat me by like 15 points. That's not terrible. But he did beat me, so hats off to Mellow Yellow. I have no idea who I'm playing this week. I'm waiting for my computer to get warm and actually start doing what I want it to do. But it looks like this week I'm playing Deity. I don't want to lose to Deity. He talks too much shit. He talks way too much shit for someone who has an average team. He actually did score a lot more points than I did last week, though. Maybe I shouldn't be such a dick. Let's go look at the matchups for me and Deity. All right, so Burrow against Lamar Jackson. I got Burrow. He's got Lamar Jackson. I think I can win that one because I really don't think Dallas is going to be that good on Sunday. My problem is I think the Bengals might get up early, and they're just going to go to the run game, so I won't get a whole lot of really good second-half stats from Burrow. That bothers me. But let's see. Tex is here. What up, Tex?
What's going on?
Talking shit about fantasy football, starting to break down the Fantrax League, the YouTube League. It looks like I'm playing Deity this week. I still have to come up with a good name for my team this week.
Who is
Burrow going against Lamar Jackson?
Let's see. B-Bones? I think that's who I'm playing. Who is that?
You are playing. Let me look real quick.
Yeah, B-Bones, B-Ball, 21 is who I'm playing.
No,
I don't know whose team that is. Oh, no clue.
I don't remember who's all in the league. Oh, that's Brody.
Oh, is it Brody? Okay. Yeah, I couldn't tell who it was. Yeah. No, I was very happy with week one. Obviously, I got like 160 something freaking points, completely out of nowhere. So, I mean,
last week let me go back to week one, and
I'm not expecting to do that weekly or anything, but hey, I'll take it. You know what I mean?
I mean, Burrow ended up giving me 24.7 points, which isn't bad considering he turned the ball over 5 friggin' times. And I still scored twice as many as Matt Stafford, and he threw 3 interceptions. So it's like it was the battle of quarterbacks having bad games, and my quarterback just happened to have a little bit of a better game. What really pisses me off is that Mello had DeAndre Swift. He had a killer game, 144 yards rushing, a touchdown. I actually have DeAndre Swift in my my money league, so I kind of reap the benefits of him one way or the other. But both my running backs kind of put up shitty numbers. Derrick Henry and Aaron Jones they didn't put up great numbers. I thought Aaron Jones was going to get a lot of stuff out in the flat. Maybe not a lot of rushing yards, but a lot of stuff out in the flat because Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to throw to anybody he's not trustworthy. He doesn't trust. And right now he's got 2 or 3 rookie wide receivers from FCS schools, and he doesn't trust any of them yet. So I figured he'd just hand the ball off to Jones a lot to throw it out to him in the flat. He didn't get me anything. 3 receptions for 27 yards and 49 rushing yards is all I got. He didn't break double-digit points. And Henry, all he had was 82 yards rushing. If he'd had 82 yards rushing and a touchdown, I would have cared. But all he had was 82 yards rushing. So neither one of my running backs broke double-digit points. I had Stephon Diggs in that Thursday night game, and I certainly reaped the benefits of that. He put down a 22-point bomb, 8 receptions, 122 yards and a touchdown. I'm not mad about that at all. And then Adam Thielen. Yeah. And I'm one of those guys that's like, hey, Cousins puts up decent fantasy numbers despite the fact that he can't really win the important games, but he puts up good fantasy stats, and Thielen's usually the recipient of a lot of those, but all he manages was 3 receptions and 36 yards for 5 points. That doesn't do me much. I had to put in Cole Kmet at the last second because I didn't know that I honestly thought that George Kittle was going to play against Chicago, and I figured he would put up good numbers. But no, game time decision, game time scratch. So I'm lucky that I caught it just in time to switch out. But Kmet obviously did me no good. He got 0 points. So I may as well have just left Kittle in and said screw it. So I wouldn't have to bother worry about changing my lineup again next week at tight end. And then, of course, my kicker got 1 extra point. The Indy defense actually did pretty good. 11 points out of my defense. I'm not mad. 20 points allowed, 3 sacks, and 1 takeaway. Anytime my defense scores double-digit points, I'm happy.
Yeah, I got Tampa Bay for my defense. I ended up getting 17 off of them. Now, my 2 stars for this week, of course, Jared Allen gave me freaking 38.6 points. He had, it was 3 passing touchdowns. He had 2 interceptions, but he had 1 rushing touchdown as well. He passed for 297. Then I had let me pull it up here. Saquon. Yeah, Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley.
I hate his first name. He got me 30 freaking points as well, completely out of nowhere. But, the only downside.
See, that was the big difference, though, is that both your running backs put up big numbers. Fournette had a good game, not a huge one, but, he had 127 rushing yards and added on 2 receptions for 10 yards. So added on another 3 points just in receiving. So 14.7 points isn't bad. Saquon Barkley put up 30 points for you, which is monster. 164 yards and a touchdown. Not to mention he got a 2-point conversion, which helps. And then you had your wide receivers put up numbers, and Cooks and Pittman too.
With Pittman and Fournette both got injured in week 1. Fournette got a hamstring thing, and Pittman, I can't remember. Let me look up what he got. His was quadricep. So they're both questionable as of now. I went ahead and pulled them from my lineup while I was looking at it. Hopefully they can come back, but that's football. That's how it goes, right? So, we'll figure it out and see how it goes. It was It was a fun week, obviously. I mean, it's good to win and everything else, but it's more fun to just be back into football. It's been a number of years since I have, so I'm enjoying that more than anything.
You were also aided by your kicker putting up one of those unusual games. He got 15
right,
points.
right.
Usually
yeah.
you see them getting to double digits, but he put up 15. Hell, you got 17 points Tampa Bay's defense, too. That doesn't hurt.
Well, I'm kind of upset that I didn't get extra points for taking out Dak Prescott. I should have gotten at least 10 points for that. But,
you should be guaranteed a spot in the Super Bowl for taking out Dak.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you
can I at least get
automatically win the conference title game if you take out Dak.
Right. Can I at least win my conference? I mean, I'm willing to settle for that. But, I got to take out Dak Prescott. So even, no matter what happens this season, I got that jewel on my gauntlet over here, so it's all good. But no, it's fun. I'm like you. I'm trying to figure out this website. I mean, I use the app more than anything, but sometimes it's kind of hard to find stuff. But
the more I use it, I like it a little more the more I use it, but it needs to be way better organized, and it's obviously it's kind of a new site because there's some obvious coding stuff that's a little off.
Right.
But I mean, the more I use it, the more I get used to it, the more accustomed I come to it, the more I understand it. But it definitely needs some work. This is obviously a new site. I don't mind using it, but I don't know that I would pick this over some of the more established sites like Yahoo or NFL.
So I was going to say, I'm used to Yahoo whenever I would play because that's what we always did our leagues on. So it was like, probably 2 weeks before we even drafted, I was just going around trying to fiddle with it when I could to try to figure it out. So I, halfway, pretend to know what I'm doing here, but it's all good. So
yeah, looking ahead to let's see, where are you? We'll look at your team real quick for this coming week as you're playing Bones Ball 21. You're playing Brody. Let's see, you got Josh Allen going up against Trey Lance. I have a feeling you're going to win the quarterback battle on that one.
I hope so. I mean, he was my number one pick for a reason.
Yeah, I'm not as a Niner fan. I'm not sold on Trey Lance. I'm not yet. Right. I said it before. As soon as they released the schedule, I said we're going to know by week 4 if this guy's got it or not. And I figured he would probably do okay in Chicago. He didn't do very well. Now, granted, that game was played in the monsoon, and that's really hard to do anything in. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass. But he's got Seattle coming up, and Seattle is constantly, even if they're bad, they're a thorn in the Niners' side. So if he can look good against Seattle, at least better than he looked against Chicago, I'll give him another couple of weeks. But I think there's a reason why they went ahead and kept Garoppolo because they don't entirely trust Trey Lance either. But that's just me. You've also got Saquon Barkley and Naheem Hines going up against Alvin Kamara and Joe Mixon. I think Kamara he's questionable with a rib injury. I had heard from somebody that he had gotten hurt. I didn't see.
Yeah, he's got something. Let me see here. Yep, ribs questionable. He was injured on Monday. Yep.
But it looks like he's going to play. You've got Joe Mixon, who's a pretty good running back in Cincinnati. That works out pretty well. And he's getting Dallas, which they're you're going to get point. Yeah. You're going to get, or he's going to get points out of Mixon.
6 and 7.
Like I said, I have a feeling that they're going to be way up at halftime, or at least comfortably up at halftime. They're just going to start handing the ball off and kill clock.
Right.
Let's see. Your flex, you got Brandon Cooks and Devontae Smith going up against Justin Jefferson and Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts isn't bad. He's a tight end that I was targeting in the draft, and I ended up missing him. But Justin Jefferson's not bad either. Like I said, I think he's the number 1 receiver in Minnesota, so he's going to be the one that's on the receiving end of all those good fantasy numbers that I was talking about with Kirk Cousins. But Cook's not terrible either. It depends on whether Houston figures out quarterback or not. I mean, if Davis Mills does pretty good, then you might get some numbers out of him, but I still don't know what we're getting out of him. And then the other super flex spot, I guess is what it is you got A.J. Dillon going against Cortland Sutton. I was really surprised that Cortland Sutton didn't have a better game. I really thought that Wilson was going to light him up and just throw all the shit his way. Or at least he was going to get a good 10 plus targets last on Monday night, but it didn't work out for him. I don't know the numbers he ended up putting up, but we can look at his numbers real quick. See what he put up last week.
I had to pull Fournette and Pittman with the
4 receptions, 72 yards. Not a terrible game. So
I went ahead and
points.
pulled those two with the injuries they got. I'd rather have somebody in there that's not hurt than my top line starters that I drafted. But we'll see as we get later on to the week if they're going to play or not or whatever. But, this is part of the game. You figure it out as you go. So
And
it's all good.
And kickers, not that matters, but you've got Daniel Carlson from the Raiders going up against Matt Prater of Arizona. Your defenses are actually playing against each other, which I find kind of fun. That's always a fun little dynamic.
This is 2 weeks in a row because Drew had the Cowboy defense last week and I had Tampa last week. So 2 weeks in a row, both defenses have played at the same time. So it gets those points out of the way early, which is nice.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder if
it'll be a close game between the both of us. I mean, we're projected at 105 and 104, so that could go either way. I mean, it'll be an interesting showdown. How did he do last week? Did Brody win last week?
Brody.
Yes, he did win. Yes.
I'm looking for it. Yeah, he's 1-0.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'm playing the DD. I got Joe Burrow going against Lamar Jackson. Like I said, I like Burrow early, but hopefully Dallas can keep that game close enough to where Burrow's still throwing in the fourth quarter and giving me some good extra points. I'm not 100% sure that's going to be the case, but I mean, as long as if Burrow puts me up 20 points, I'm good. Just give me a couple hundred yards and a touchdown. No interceptions. Burrow, get that shit. I hope he got that shit out of his system.
Dallas. I mean, obviously, I'm a Cowboy fan, and that's I watch the game. They don't really seem to have it together on any facet of the ball. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't see them as much of a threat at all for anything this year. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the loss. I'm worried about getting good stats because, like I said, if they go up real big, real early, I mean, I'm afraid they're going to pull Burrow and just say, why send him out for the fourth quarter if I'm up by 30 points on Dallas? But that's just me. Lamar Jackson, I think, has a tougher matchup because Miami actually was pretty good last week. So Miami might shock a few people. I don't think they're going to win the division. I think Buffalo's pretty much got that division in check. But I mean, he could put up some numbers, so I worry about that a little bit. Again, on paper, I feel like I've got better running backs, but I just don't know what Green Bay has got anymore. And Derrick Henry looked really human last week after a couple of years of kind of being the biggest workhorse in football. So I don't know. I feel like I want to go after some depth at running back, but I don't know. I don't know who would really be available or who I even feel like giving up.
Yeah, I mean, I've got pretty good running backs because my second and third picks were running backs after I got Jared Allen. Unfortunately, one of them got an injury, but, hopefully it's not something where I have to go looking for a replacement or whatever. But once we get through this week, we'll kind of see more on that or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, we'll see if let's see, what's the chat saying? Dak sucks. Drew says, keep laughing. That's funny. Hey, I'm a Cowboy fan. I'm allowed to say Dak sucks. I know we gave this dude like $100 million for no reason whatsoever. He has done nothing. So it's all good.
I think Casey in the chat talking shit is kind of funny because all the time he's bitched about me not letting him on my channel. I've got the link in the Twitter room for the fantasy league, and I put in there anybody in the league is more than welcome to join, even you, Casey, but he's too busy fucking jerking off, watching, fucking Bright Bomber videos on YouTube for Fortnite. So whatever. I mean, you had your chance, Casey. I don't want to hear you bitching anymore, bro.
It's not Casey is raw. It's Casey is a dumbass for not getting on the damn link. But hey, what are you going to do? It's all good.
Casey is bitching, but thanks to Casey, thanks to Frederico.
So
for being
hang on, week 2. Cool. Let's see. There was one question I did want to ask you. Who are you playing? You're playing the Deity. So what's the team name going to be for this week? Because I know it's changing weekly. Have you thought of anything? Or
I was thinking about. I need to do that tonight. I was thinking about like a play on Gore the God Butcher since he's the deity. So I was gonna be I was gonna put I was thinking about trying to find a picture of Gore that I could Gore the God Butcher that I could alter a little bit and put like a Niner logo on it or something like that and be like Frank the Deity Butcher or some shit like that. So I'll work on that when we get done with the stream tonight because I still have to get the stream for tomorrow night together too. So I'll work on that.
Well,
I'll come up with a good one.
I'm playing Brody. Ken's got Horny Broncos. I don't know who Horny Broncos is. Mello is playing Casey, so that'll be a snooze fest. Rose has got Drew, TSS, and J-Man, and then Deity and yourself. So, I mean, all of the at least projected scores are with within 5 to 10 points of one another. So it should be interesting games that come out of this.
Yeah.
Like, let's see. J-Man and TSS, they have the biggest differential at 96 and 106. Other than that, everybody's, well, I guess, no, Casey and Mello are 10 apart as well, 91 and 101. Other than that, everybody's within just a few points of one another, and those projections really don't mean anything at the, once the game starts. But it'll be fun.
Yeah, as far as the wide receiver is concerned, he's got Jamar Chase and Deebo Samuel. Those are some big names. I've got Stephon Diggs, so I think he's going to put up good points. And again, Adam Thielen. I don't know. Who do I swap Adam Thielen out for somebody?
Hang on, wait, Drew. Drew is preaching the goodness of Cooper Rush. Are you serious, Drew? How much have you smoked today?
Well, this is Drew's off night for YouTube, so he's probably heavily drinking, or he's still trying to catch up for the last couple of donation shots that he didn't get in on Sunday.
Just to say, you don't have to do peanut butter whiskey time tonight. It's okay, Drew. You can leave the bottle alone. So.
Say no to meth, Drew. Say no to meth. Crack is whack, buddy. Don't do it.
Even Jerry Jones himself said this week that he was looking at going after that San Francisco quarterback because even he knows that Cooper Rush sucks. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know, but see, that's a bad place to come from, though, because if you desperately need him and they don't know if they want to get rid of Garoppolo right now because they don't know what they've got with Lance, it's going to cost you. I mean, if somebody came to him right now, they'd be like, hey, I need at least 2 number 2 picks out of this. And if you want him bad enough, you better come off a first rounder. So maybe them not trading Garoppolo on draft day like I thought they would do was actually kind of a blessing in disguise because it might work out for the Niners. I don't know. But, yeah, Drew says he's not there yet. They just got to the bar eating dinner now. He said he'll be drunk soon. But, yeah, then looking at I guess they're wide receiver flexes. I don't know what they are. Yeah, I'm fairly confident that I can run in the wide receiver department. As far as tight end is concerned, I mean, I don't like any tight end in Tampa Bay right now because every now and again, Brady can get a lot like Aaron Rodgers. He's like, I want my guy. I don't want the guy that's good. I want my guy. And with gone, I mean, what did Mike Evans put up last week? Let's go look at his points real quick. Last week, he put up 5 receptions, 71 yards, and a touchdown. Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean he's going to put those numbers up this week, but
I'm a big Aggie fan, and Mike Evans is a Texas Aggie. That's one wide receiver I really wanted, but I wasn't able to get him. He was took by whoever else. But
I still like Freiermuth, though, the guy I've got from Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah,
5 of 10 targets for 75 yards in the overtime win against Cincinnati.
Right,
and he only put up 2 fewer points than Mike Evans, so it's not hateful. As far as kickers are concerned, doesn't matter. He's got McPherson from Cincinnati. I've got Mason Crosby from Green Bay. I've got the Indianapolis defense is playing Jacksonville. Jacksonville looked a lot better in week 1 than they looked all of last year. I'm still not entirely convinced that they're going to be even a division contender, but yeah, I've got the Indianapolis defense, which is one of the they're a high second tier ranked defense coming into the year, and I was targeting them in the draft anyway. Because I figured even if I don't get one of the bigger defenses that I wanted, like San Francisco or something like that, then I could still settle for Indianapolis, and that'd be a good run to start the season. And then after Indy goes in their bye week, I'll just start stringing defenses. He's got the Rams, though. The Rams going up against Atlanta. Look, I know the Rams did what they did last week, but I don't really think they're going to pull that kind of points against. I mean, what did they end up with last week? 12 points.
Right.
They gave up 10. But no, they gave up 31. They gave up 31 points. They had 2 sacks and 4 takeaways. But, I mean, they got chewed up pretty good last week. I'm kind of surprised they put up the points they did. But, yeah, that was not a good game by Stafford. Although, then again, their defense spent a lot of time in the field, so they had to have been gassed towards the end of the game. And as for, let's see, I do have another defense. I have a Tennessee defense. They're playing Buffalo. I'm certainly not starting any defenses against Buffalo. That doesn't make sense to me at all. And he's got the Chargers defense playing at Kansas City. If I were him, I wouldn't play them either. So it looks like our lineups are pretty much set. I can't imagine there's anybody in his lineup that he would want to swap in just looking at it. Me, I don't know. Maybe I'll swap Kittle in. He's questionable with the groin. We'll know that on game day, I'm sure.
I mean, I've already had to make a couple waivers. I got to looking, and both of my quarterbacks have the same bye week. I was like, holy crap, how did I let this slip through the cracks or whatever? So I had to drop one of the extra, crap wide receivers that I got in like the 15th round or whatever that was to get a third quarterback, just so I would have somebody to play later on in the season. I figured, it would be better to get somebody now that I'm not in a rush to get, and once all the other quarterbacks are already hurt. So, it was, I figured jump early while I can. And I had the Raider defense as my backup, but I found a better option. I forget who I picked up, but it is what it is. It's roster move to roster move. It's all good. Let's see here.
Got some questions coming in. We'll start with this one right here from Penny to Win. Hey, should I start Amon-Ra versus Washington or Cortland Sutton versus Houston? I'm always going against Houston. Do they even have a cornerback that has a name? It's like,
oh, yeah.
I'm probably starting Cortland Sutton because I feel like after the game against Seattle that Russell Wilson's going to come out a little pissed off. And I feel like he's going to want to not bounce back, but he's going to want to remind people that he's still Russell Wilson. So I feel like Cortland Sutton's going to be a big target for him. I feel like Houston does not have, maybe not the worst defense in the league, but certainly not one of the top 10 or 15. So I feel like Cortland Sutton can put together some pretty good numbers. That he's going to be on their number 2 corner probably. So, so I would go with Cortland Sutton. That's my guess. Texas 1X says, would you trade Javonte Williams and Rover Tonyan for Darren Waller and Cam Akers? I wouldn't trade for Cam Akers at all right now. I don't even know what's going on. I mean, I don't know. I'm a little miffed by that whole first game, him not even really getting any touches and kind of being in the doghouse with the coaching staff. I don't really know what's going on with that. He also says it's in a
PPR league.
PPR 14 man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I would not make that trade right now. I mean, Darren Waller, I wouldn't mind having Darren Waller. I don't think he's elite enough. I mean, he'll put up good numbers as the season goes on. He'll be a top, probably 10 tight end at the end of the year, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not trading for Cam Akers until this shit works itself out, though. That's my thing about Cam Akers.
Drew coming in using a 9/11.
Yeah, Cooper Rush won his only start in his career. Never forget. Well, was he starting against like somebody's practice squad team or some local Dallas-Fort Worth area Pee Wee football team? Because that says a lot. I honestly have no idea who he won his only start against. But I don't know. Maybe. Let's see. But thanks to Vinny Nguyen in Texas. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We usually talk movies on this channel, but I'm going to be expanding this out a little bit. So we're definitely going to be talking some shit about fantasy football as the season goes on. I do want to point out that Casey has still not jumped on the call. So what a putz that guy is. TSS is not a big fan of Cam Akers. He says, Akers, that bum cost me my game. Yeah, I apparently I don't know what he did to piss off the coaching staff, but that's one of the reasons he didn't get any touches at all. Let me go. Who has Cam Akers? TSS has Cam Akers, he says. Let's go look at what it says about him. Let's see. Unless he dropped him already. Oh, there he is right there. Okay. Cam Akers. What does it say about Cam Akers? McVay said he wanted to see an increased level of urgency and accountability snap in and snap out from Akers, who got only 3 carries off the bench in a 31-10 loss to the Bills on Thursday. Let's see. Darrell Henderson not only got the start, but played 82% of the offensive snaps, taking 13 carries for 47 yards, within 5 catches for 26 yards. Not efficient production, but he got all the touches. Well, Akers managed no gain from his 3 carries on 12 snaps. Let's see. McVay did say Akers did some positive things in a Week 2 home game against Atlanta. Proves a better matchup for both backs to get involved. Even so, fantasy managers that drafted Akers as a starter need to be thinking about alternatives now that they've seen Henderson operating as the lead back. So yeah, 3 attempts, no rushing yards, no touchdowns. That's not good. That's not a good number from a guy who was taken in the first round in a lot of drafts. I think he went the first round. Well, he went the top. I think he went the first 2 rounds of ours. I forget.
Yeah. I think so.
Somebody took him early. I don't know if it says on here or not.
If so, I couldn't tell you where to find it. I can barely operate this thing.
It says Fantrax. Usually it says stuff like that on here. Your roster, your fantasy.
Casey says, I'm not.
Doesn't really say on here. Yeah. Casey says, I'm not into football, which is why he's playing in a fantasy football league. I'm not into football as much as I used to be. I wouldn't have any good opinion. You don't have any good opinion on Derailed. We keep letting you on there. I think I may have lost Texas audio for half a second. Let me see if I can mute him back into existence. But yeah, it doesn't say who has him. I can look right here. Never mind, I'll say right here. Drafted by TSS round. Yeah, first round pick 5. So he, TSS has some expectations out of him, and he did not meet those expectations last week for show. But he does have Russell Wilson. Tex, you may need to leave the call and bounce back on. I'm hearing something now. Yeah, we'll figure that out. But yeah, for all of you guys that are in the league, I put the link to jump onto this call in the Twitter conversation we all have going. Let's see. Should I start Jahan Dotson versus Detroit, or Elijah Moore versus Cleveland, or Devontae Smith versus Minnesota? I'd have to look at matchups. I feel like Elijah Moore versus Cleveland, because Cleveland's kind of a mess right now. Who do we have that has Elijah Moore? Let me go search for Elijah Moore. We'll do a little bit of a deep dive. Player search. Yeah, I know I spelled Elijah all wrong. Elijah Moore. There he is right there. Let's see. Ken's got him. Caught 5 of 7 targets for 49 yards. But just he's sort of passing consistently. As Joe Flacco threw the ball 59 times. Man, Flacco threw 59 fucking times. Yeah, that's a lot. Well, I'll have to go check and see if Tex is back. Yes, Tex is back. I have to re-add Tex to the stream. There he is.
Hello, can you hear me?
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I forgot I had to, when you jump back on the call, I had to go back to
it's all
bring
good.
you back on.
Yeah,
I don't know. What do you think? Jahan Dotson versus Detroit, Elijah Moore versus Cleveland, or Devontae Smith versus Minnesota? I'm looking at Elijah Moore's stats. I don't know. I mean, he 59 passing attempts and the number of targets that he got was how many? It was about 59 times.
Let's see here.
Promising rookie, just started 5 months in absence, for 2 weeks. That's possible. What was the other name that he brought up? Devontae Smith versus Minnesota. Oh, no, it's really
Devontae Smith versus Minnesota, or where was the third one? Yeah.
I did not spell that name right. What is Smith versus Minnesota? Smith. Since I can't spell people's names, apparently. I just didn't capitalize it correctly.
Rob.
Smith failed to bring in any of his 4 targets in the Eagles' 38-35 win over the Lions. I don't think Devontae Smith is gonna have any easier time against Minnesota than he had against Detroit. So that's my bottom there.
TSS says I say Elijah Moore because he's more consistent than Devontae and Dotson.
So there you go. We've got Dotson here. Jahan Dotson. Let's see. Well, Casey's got him. Secured 3 of 5 targets for 40 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't know. That's not a bad line. I mean, it's not. I mean, that's 2 touchdowns for 3 receptions. That's pretty good. He did put up 17.5 points. And who's he playing? Deshaun Watson is playing. Who did I say? Upcoming games. Detroit. I don't know. The more I think about it, maybe Jahan Dotson, because he's playing Washington. No, sorry, he's not playing Washington. He's playing. Who did I say he was playing? I just looked at it a second ago. Where was it? Detroit. He's playing Detroit. Detroit may have the 7th best defense in the league right now, but that's after 1 week. So I'm not. I don't know. If I were you, I would go with either Dotson against Detroit or Elijah Moore versus Cleveland. I feel like Jahan Dotson might be the better bet between the two of them because that's a better quarterback. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe Washington's got it a little bit more together than I thought they did coming into the year. I don't know. But let's see. Casey said, I'll try to watch the football this season. Well, I certainly hope so. You're in a fantasy league.
Right.
Casey, of course, suggesting I suggest next week wait till after AEW is done before going on the air. What the fuck do I care about wrestling? Wrestling is what you guys do. It's not me. There are a million people live on YouTube at any given moment. If I wait for one person to not be on the air, then I'm never going to be alive. So I do what I do.
And who gives a crap about freaking gay EW? Nobody gives a shit. Go to hell. So
yeah. Yeah. And okay, text right there saying in not so many words, fuck AEW.
Right. Well, let me just be to use a pun here, frank about it, but you know what you're gonna do. So it's all good. Okay, Cleveland. Nobody has Cleveland as the defense in our league. They're only 50% owned. Let's see. I don't see anything special with them. Now I don't know who does Cleveland have at quarterback? It's
Jacoby Brisket. Jacoby Brissett's his name.
I was fixing to say, if his last name was Brisket, I would buy his jersey. Just to have a jersey that said Brisket on the back of it. But it's a whole different thing.
That's what Brody calls him. He calls him Brisket. Jacoby
That's
Brisket.
funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not expecting anything out of Cleveland this year. I find it hilarious that so many people are like, well, they can win some of these games, and if they're, like only 2 games under 500 when Deshaun Watson comes back from his suspension, they can make a run. No, they can't. They suck. Here's the thing, and I've said this before over on Drew's show when we've talked football. Cleveland and Detroit, they're 2 cities that have one thing in common. Nobody wants to fucking play there.
Hang on. I think my headphones are the problem here. Let me get a different pair and try something. I'll be right back.
Okay, you go ahead and do that. I'm going to go on my rant for a minute. Look, nobody wants to play in Cleveland. Nobody wants to play in Detroit. You know why? Those towns are kind of dead. They were really big towns in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s when the industry was there. When the industry left, so did all the people. So it's like, how can you expect anybody to want to go play like in Detroit? Detroit's got, at one point, they had over 1 million people in Detroit. Now they're down to like 160 or 200,000. It's like that's not a big enough market for like a Joe Burrow to want to go play, or for a Kyler Murray to want to go play. Mahomes doesn't want to play there. I mean, I'm surprised Mahomes has signed on to stay in Kansas City for as long as he has, because Kansas City's not a fantastic market either. It's just one of those historic franchises that has a deep history, and they can still manage to put winning teams together despite the fact that they're in a mid-sized market. But all the big-time players, they want to go play New York and L.A. They want to go play in Miami because the weather's fantastic and it's a party atmosphere. It's basically the East Coast L.A. Maybe Chicago, because Chicago's kind of that town. But for the most part, nobody wants to go play in those towns. There's nothing there anymore. So how could you possibly expect? Look, Deshaun Watson didn't want to go to Cleveland. That was the only team that wanted to take a chance on him. So he had to make it sound like it was going to be this great opportunity. If the Rams would have said, hey, go ahead and come with us, he'd have been like, oh, sorry, Cleveland, I'm taking $500 million less and 2 less years of my contract to go play in Los Angeles because that's where all the famous people are. There's no famous people. Look, LeBron is from Cleveland and left there twice. He doesn't want to be there. And he's a hometown boy. He split. He bounced. He went to where the fame and the money and the future was. He didn't want to hang out in Cleveland. I'm not saying these towns are bad. I'm saying it from the sports and athletic perspective, a sports perspective. Nobody wants to play there. Why would you? They can't afford to pay you what some of the bigger market teams can if they want you. Even if they could afford to pay you, that means they wouldn't be able to afford to pay anybody else. So you're not going to get any help. You're going to win 3-4 games a year. Sure, you might put up some decent numbers, but you're going to be overlooked when it comes to the Hall of Fame at the end of your career. I mean, honestly, I don't like the idea of contracting teams from any league. I think it's really, really shitty, and it hurts the fans. But if the NFL ever starts talking about it, I think the two teams that are going to be on the block are going to be Cleveland and Detroit. Because, I mean, what else could you do? What, are you going to contract the Niners? I mean, it's like if you ever seriously talk about contracting teams in the NFL, there's a couple teams that are safe. The Giants are probably safe. Dallas is probably safe. The Niners are probably safe. The Raiders, as much as they hate the Davis family, are probably safe. I mean, there's probably two or three other teams. I mean, Kansas City's probably safe. Green Bay's probably safe. But I mean, there's a couple of teams, and it's like you look at them, you're like, it's going to be quite a while before you can get your shit together. Honestly, I would have put Cincinnati on that list too had they not been fairly decent the last couple of years and gone to the Super Bowl last year. It feels like they finally got their shit together after 30 years of not quite being able to figure it out. So, yeah, I mean, who wants to go play in these places? It's sad because they're good cities, I'm sure. But like honestly, who wants to go play there? Nobody at all. But I'll take a look at a couple of other, since Drew's in the chat right now, I'll go look at his next game. Where is Drewski? Drew is Betty White's pelvis. And as they go to bring his up real quick. Let's see. He's playing the Rose, which means he'll probably win. Rose has Tom Brady. He's got Chase Edmonds and Christian McCaffrey. Oh, my God. I still can't get over you drafting Christian McCaffrey in the first round. That is so dumb. Let's see. So, honestly, at quarterback, I feel like that Rose probably has a slight advantage at quarterback over Kyler Murray because he's Tom Brady, and Kyler Murray is not. As far as running backs concerned, Rose has Chase Edmonds and Christian McCaffrey going against James Conner and Austin Eckler. I like Eckler. I like Conner. Both two pretty good RB1s in my opinion. Edmonds, I don't really know much about how Miami is approaching their offensive stuff. Christian McCaffrey, I have a problem with because he never seems to play a full season, which is why I was shitting on the Rose for drafting him like in the first or second round. I was like, to me, that guy's falling way down. I would have taken 4 or 5 other people ahead of him, and if he was still the best running back available, I might have just went ahead and gone wide receiver and just let him slip. I don't have any confidence in Christian McCaffrey. Wide receivers, Rose has CeeDee Lamb and DJ Moore going against Jerry Jeudy and Travis Kelce. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got the tight end and the wide receiver tight end spot. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This whole arrangement is weird. It's like it's 2 flexes and a super flex, which is odd instead of wide receivers, but whatever. I like Jerry Jeudy again. I think Russell Wilson's going to come out pissed off, so he's going to come out slinging on Sunday against Houston, and I feel like Jeudy and Cortland Sutton will probably be the beneficiaries of all that. Do we have text back yet? No, but we have Casey finally. All this time that you've bitched at me. Why don't you ever have me on your channel? And finally, Casey shows up. Say something, Casey. Say something insightful about football.
Football? I thought we were in a fantasy foosball league.
Well, you'd probably lose that too.
I mean, like, I don't know all the positions on the foosball table. I mean, I can't be watching all these foosball games, Frank.
All your fancy foosball friends.
but I thought I joined a foosball league.
Well, that's probably why you're losing. Did you win your first week? I haven't looked yet.
No, I lost, but I had over 100 points, I believe.
No, I didn't because both my running backs took a shit and one of my wide receivers. But that's how that goes.
Well,
actually, one of my running backs got hurt.
Well, it looks like mine. I'm just keeping an eye, see which Cowboys running back I want to keep.
You keep them both.
Yeah,
go ahead, keep them both.
Well, I mean,
keep them both until one does good, then trade that guy to me. That's what you do.
Oh yeah, sure.
But going back to Drew's team, he's got. Let's see, well, not a traditional tight end going towards things or whatever in the super flex spot. He's got the Rose has Allen Robinson going up against Miles Sanders. So I'll give a slight advantage to Miles Sanders right now because the Rams look so bad last week, and I'm not sure what this week's going to look like. So I'll give a slight advantage to Miles Sanders. That's about it. Go ahead.
I was going to say that my lineup right now is not finalized for this week. So, I mean, I got tomorrow, but I'm going to definitely update it sometime soon before the game starts tomorrow.
But before we get to the kickers, we'll go to the defenses real quick. Drew's obviously playing the Kansas City defense because he's a homer. And Rose is playing the Carolina defense. Actually, both defenses not terrible. Kansas City one of the top, I think, 3 or 4 defenses coming into the year. Carolina mid-level, but if that's who he got. And then we'll go to the kickers. Drew is starting Dustin Hopkins from the Chargers, and of course, the Rose is starting somebody named Gay. So take it easy. I didn't name the guy.
Well, remember how J-Man says you need 2 defense and 2 kickers? I might have 2 defense, but I'm sure hell no, I don't have 2 kickers, and I'm not disqualified.
I don't have 2 kickers.
So what he was saying was bullshit then.
Look at the guy. He's got Rose has Julio Jones on his bench. Julio Jones put up some good numbers last week.
I know Julio Jones would done great for me in the past.
I've doubled him and Matt Ryan up several times. I actually won a championship off that one year, so I like Julio Jones. He's got Tom Brady throwing to him, so maybe this might be one of his last years. But if this is his last year in the league, getting passes from Tom Brady is not a bad way to go.
I thought Tom Brady retired.
He retired, then unretired, and whatever. I don't know. It's going to be a better NFL when he does retire. Let's go look at Casey's real quick. You get to play Mellow Yellow. And what's the name of your team again, Casey?
I'm pretty sure you've seen it. It's Frank's Woman Wants Me.
Oh, so you named your team after a wet dream, I see. Okay, but anyway, you've got he's starting Matt Stafford. You've got Patrick Mahomes. I think you've got the obvious advantage there because Matt Stafford did not look good last week. You've also got, for reasons passing understanding, both Dallas running backs in your starting spots. I don't understand that at all.
Like I was saying which one's going to do better. And like I said, mine's not finalized for this week. I will change a few around.
You might want to swap Pollard out for somebody. I mean, Zeke might put up some numbers, but one is not going to put up. Both of them aren't going to put up numbers at the same time. He's actually got you big time in the running back department. He's got 2 number 1s in Montgomery and Swift going up against you. So if I were you, I would examine your running back choices. Let's look at your bench real quick. Who do you got at running back? You got let's see, Khalil Herbert of Chicago, who's a number 2 running back, but you'd probably be better off swapping him out for Pollard. Let's see. The rest of these guys are all wide receiver tight ends. So you've got, Kenneth Walker of Seattle, too.
Remember, a lot of that's because I was on auto draft because I had to because of Compton.
Well, you might want to hit that's right. I forgot about that. You might want to hit the waiver wire and see what you can pick up, buddy. I would go ahead and dump Pollard for somebody else, or maybe see if anybody's open for a trade. But in the wide receiver spots, it looks like Melo's got Tyler Boyd and Gabriel Davis. You've got Darnell Mooney, not bad. He's the number 1 in Chicago, and Dalton Schultz in the wide receiver tight end spot. I have Schultz in my money league, and he put up a couple of points for me last week. It wasn't great, but I mean, it wasn't. I don't usually expect much out of tight end unless I've got one of the studs. So he put up a few.
I mean, like you said, usually the tight ends don't get a lot of numbers. So it's kind of good that's one thing I had to give J-Man of merging the wide receivers with the tight end. So I was wondering what the fuck WT meant.
Running back, wide receiver, tight end. You can put anybody who qualifies in those positions you can put in that spot. Whereas the other ones are a wide receiver tight end. So that one flex is like a super flex spot, and then the other one is kind of like a partial flex, the wide receiver spots. Like a partial flex. I don't see why you would put wide receiver tight end because there's only really 3 tight ends that are worth drafting anymore. The rest of them are just space fillers. So I don't know why you do that. I'd make that wide receiver running back maybe because there's other running backs that are going to put up points, but that's just me.
Exactly. I agree.
And then in the super flex spot, he's got Antonio Gibson. You've got Breece Hall, the rookie Breece Hall, who is probably not going to. Well, he said he rushed 6 times for 23 yards last week. So I don't know. Out of the super flex spot, that's not terrible. Let's see. And Gibson put up roughly the same production. So those two were pretty evenly matched.
Who's predict to win between me and Mello?
Give me a second. I'll go look. I think it does. Does it show it on here? No, it doesn't. It doesn't show it right here. Let's go look at it in a second. But Going into kickers, he's got Tyler Bass from Buffalo. You've got Justin Tucker of Baltimore, two good kickers. Those are from teams that are going to score a decent amount of points too, especially Buffalo. And you've got the Buffalo defense going against Tennessee. That could be an interesting matchup. And he's got the Houston defense going against Denver. Well, good luck with that. like I said, I think Russell Wilson's going to come out with something to prove. So we're going to see probably a whole lot of touchdowns on his defense next week. Let's see. He doesn't really have anybody mind-blowing on the bench. I mean, Mariota, maybe. DeAndre Hopkins, maybe. Marvin Jones I think is pretty clearly probably the number one receiver in Jacksonville. That doesn't say much because who knows how good they are right now. Let's see. He's got Jahan Dotson, TJ Hawkinson, who's pretty good tight end, Jalen Waddle, Darren Waller. So, I mean, he's got some people on his bench. And Melo's also got the Miami defense on his bench. They're playing Baltimore this week.
Does he have a couple vacant spots on his bench?
It looks like he does, yeah.
Huh. Because I see mine's all loaded up, and he's missing a couple.
Let's go look at the transactions, see what kind of moves people have been making right now. Let's see. That's not exactly what transaction history is actually what I was looking for. I don't know why I went to that. That's weird. Transaction history.
I'm actually not a fan of this site.
The more I mess with it, this I was telling Tex earlier, the more I mess with it, the more I come to understand it. And we do have Tex back now. I believe so. Come on, Tex. Sorry, it took me a minute to... So Tex is back now. We can... Yeah, that's what I was saying to Tex. Yeah, what's up? You got everything going good now, buddy?
No, my phone's being a prick, but y'all keep talking. I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Well, we hear you right now.
But yeah, that's what I was saying, Tex. The more I mess with this and the more I understand the site, the more I like it. But it's definitely a new site that needs some work. Its organization on the main page needs a little work. But that's just what I think. I mean, like I said, this site needs to grow.
See, I used to play on Fox Sports for years and years. I was used to that. And then we played on Yahoo last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was about almost the same. But this is like really hard. You have to remember to hit that one icon down there to figure out where you want to go.
I wish there was some more uniformity between the website on my PC and my phone. Because I've noticed there's usually pretty decent uniformity on other apps. But like I said, the more I mess with this, the more I understand it, the more I get used to it, the more I like it a little bit. It just needs to be a little better organized, in my opinion. But look at this week's waiver wire pickups. I dropped Cole Kmet because, the guy wasn't doing anything. And I picked up Pat Freiermuth because he's obviously one of the bigger targets in Pittsburgh. He put up a lot of points against Cincinnati last week. Let's see. Rubber Duck, that is J-Man. He dropped Treylon Burks and picked up DeAndre Carter. Let's see. Horny Broncos dropped Mac Jones. Yeah, not anybody likes Mac Jones anymore. There's no faith in Mac Jones in the fantasy community. And he picked up Devin Duvernay, the wide receiver.
Isn't this site where you guys were saying they were having old players on here that's been retired or not even playing before?
Well, every site has that. If you haven't been officially retired by the NFL, you're going to show up on player lists, and that's where they get their player list for sites like this is from the NFL. So while Colin Kaepernick is not officially retired, I don't believe. So he's still registered as an available player with the NFL because he hasn't filed the official legal paperwork to not be a football player anymore. You know what I'm saying?
But let's say if you just kind of washed out of the league, but you don't say you're retired. I mean, like 10 years later, you're still on the, be on here, then I call shenanigans.
Well, it's more of a legal thing than anything else. I don't think it's really a big deal. But like I said, I know we were giving people shit during the draft, during the live stream of the draft. But really, it's like that. If you go to ESPN and stuff and look, it's probably the same shit. Tex, let's see. He dropped the Las Vegas defense and picked up Pittsburgh. I don't know. Pittsburgh's they've got a couple of good matchups. Look, their defense is pretty solid, and they've got a couple of good matchups this year, so that might not be a bad thing. And TSS dropped Ronald Jones and picked up Jeffrey Wilson. I put a claim in on Jeffrey Wilson. TSS beat me to it, but that's the way it goes. Because I know in my other league I had Eli Mitchell, and when he got hurt and only got me 40-something yards, I was kind of pissed. But that's the way that goes.
I assume you're putting more effort into the money league, and then this one.
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, it's not like a big money league. I kind of got into it the last second with some guys from work. They needed somebody to fill in. I was like, yeah, I got you. So it's like, and then I stumbled into a draft right after I had done a stream with American Werewolf in New Jersey. We had broke down a movie on his channel, and like right as I was getting done with that, I took about 15 minutes to like make a sandwich, and I sat down into the draft for that league. So I kind of did it kind of off the cuff, but I mean, I really like the team that I got for that. As a matter of fact, I'll probably go to that one and show you guys that one at some point, because I do want to talk about my money league at some point. Let me go to that's on ESPN, right?
Well, do you mind if I ask what's the wager on it?
It's just a $20 league.
Is it $20 just that's it, or is it $20 a week, or no?
No, it's just a $20 buy-in. I don't even know what the payouts are. I don't really care. Okay. Like I said, I'm kind of taking it seriously, but I'm kind of not. You know what I mean?
That's not bad though. I mean, $20. I mean, you wait until like in the season. That's not bad.
While I'm waiting for the ESPN. While I'm waiting for the ESPN league to load in, we'll go to the chat real quick. Tour Capture's confused. He said, Frank, you talking fantasy football? Yeah, why not? I mean, I wanted this channel to be about more than movies. I wanted it to be about other stuff. Jeremy's not a big sports guy. I mean, he knows stuff, but he doesn't talk about it nearly as much as I do. So, I mean, I want to expand out, do some different things. And, maybe as things grow, maybe do a separate channel for different things. I don't know. But, I mean, yeah, I've always wanted to talk also about, like, sports and music and shit. I mean, me and Jeremy could talk about music the same way we talk about sports. We just haven't really had a chance to do any real music content, because I've only really had the 2 nights a week to even do any YouTube stuff. And, the one night for Drew and the one night for me. And, the rest of it's all, I'm usually at work. But yeah, I'm hoping to expand out a little bit like that. Tour Capture says, who won my matchup? Not me. Not me at all. Yeah, I lost pretty badly. Like I said, both my running backs and one of my receivers just put up stinkers, so that kind of cost me. And then, of course, I had Burrow, who put up good points in the end, but I mean, the 4 interceptions didn't help. It didn't help at all. Saraji says Devontae and MT or Keenan and Najee for a 12-team half PPR trade. I think I'd take Keenan Allen and Najee Harris. If you're talking about trading Devontae for Keenan and Najee Harris, I would do that. That's because, look, those are 2 number ones. So I would take, because look, if you're talking about Keenan Allen's a number 1 or a good number 2, and Najee Harris is obviously the number 1 in his team. So I would go ahead and take Keenan and Najee for that. Let's see. TSS says it needs to be more streamlined. I agree. It's really more. I mean, about the site, about the Fantrack site, it really needs to be better organized. But that's my problem. I think over time, they're gonna figure that out. They're gonna rearrange some shit, and it's gonna get better. So I mean, I wouldn't be against using the site again in the future. Let's see. Yeah, Drew says he likes ESPN the best. Yeah, but like I said, they've been running fantasy online now for 20 years. So they've really got their shit together. And I think this Fantrack site can get there after a couple of years. I mean, I wouldn't mind using it again. Let's see.
Like I said, I used Fox Sports for a long time, and I liked it. But like you said, there is some issues on there, but that's going to be on every site.
Tour Capture says he would love to chat. but family's sleeping. He's been playing fantasy football for a number of years. One of these days, he'll call the show and talk any sports. Yeah, I mean, I would love for the Giants and Yankees to end up in the World Series. I'm pretty sure me and the Rose would be on here talking shit back and forth from the first pitch all the way to the last out. But maybe as far as that kind of content is concerned, go check out Sir Cardinal. He does that shit way better than I can.
Oh, love him.
Because I want my channel to be mostly about the movies and TV and stuff. But I mean, I do want to talk about other things. But I mean, yeah, if you want the play-by-play stuff, go check out Sir Cardinal. I mean, he's in this community at the very least. He's definitely he's definitely the top person that does shit like that. But not only that, he's very good at it. Period. I mean, look at the following he's got.
Dude, I tell him all the time, it's like, dude, you should be like a play-by-play and commentator. That's what I said to Sir Cardinal all the time, because he does it really good on the show.
Stop that screen share. I think we've talked out the YouTube league. Now I think I'm going to go show you guys my money league. Give you guys some stuff on there. Let me go to the share screen. Let me pull up the appropriate window.
I'm just shocked that, I mean, remember how Drew was saying that, I know it looks like you're on Twitch, so I'm not going to say the certain word, but, my helmet flat from last year, I was shocked he never got punished for that. I mean, that's not my goal to get him in trouble. It was just something to have a little fun.
Yes, I am streaming across 3 platforms now with this particular streaming software with StreamYard. I am on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at the moment. That's the one nice thing about using this is I can go across all of them. But yeah, you guys are seeing it right now. You're seeing my this is my money league. I really like my team. I'm actually kind of bummed at my. Let me go look at. This is last week. I put up good points, but I mean, I caught my buddy Nick on a big week. He ended up beating me by like 30. No, it was more than that. He hit 190. Is that what I saw a minute ago? Yeah, 193 is what he hit. He had a big week. He hit, as I look at the stuff, Gina putting messages in the Facebook group for D-Ray.
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, I had Burrow. He ended up getting me about his projection, but I mean, those interceptions hurt. He had Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray hit his projections. He outscored me by a couple of points. Of course, he had Najee. He had Connor. My running backs put up decent enough points. But, DeAndre Swift, actually, dude, he had a big game, 26.5. Aaron Jones didn't quite make it and missed his projections by about 5 points. I had Jamar Chase, big numbers. But then again, Mike Williams, 3 points. Nothing. Took a shit. I had to get 13 points out of Dalton Schultz. Like I said, he put up good numbers. And Elijah Mitchell got hurt, only got 41 yards rushing. That sucked. Hunter Renfrow didn't do anything. I had Cordell Patterson. This is the guy that won me the league last year. This is the guy that won me our YouTube league last year. He was one of my waiver wire pickups in like week 3 or 4. And he was the guy that I was constantly in my flex, and that was a big help.
You're the one who won the league last year? I forgot who did.
I did. Yeah, I beat Deity. That's why Deity doesn't talk about it. That's why he doesn't want to talk about last year's league. But you know what's funny is if he beats me this week, which is a possibility because my team isn't exactly what I want it to be. But if he beats me this week, he's going to brag about it for the next 6 months. I had the 49ers defense, which didn't do very well. Again, it was a tough game to play, but still I expected more out of him. My kicker put me up 13 points. It's not bad. I'm not mad at that. My bench players, none of them would have made a difference. I mean, Matt Ryan put up fewer points. I have Naheem Hines from Indianapolis. He obviously would have outrushed Elijah Mitchell, but I mean, Elijah Mitchell got hurt. Elijah Mitchell would have put up some decent points, I think, if he just stayed healthy. But yeah, it didn't work out for me. By comparison, my buddy Nick, I mean, his guys are just throwing it down. 20 points, 10 points, 16 points, 30 points from Devontae Adams. I mean, he's going to be a beast with Carr throwing to him. Mike Evans he was getting all kinds of looks from Tom Brady. He's a Pittsburgh guy, so Pat Freiermuth, that's his guy. He got him 12 points. Jalen Waddle, 17 points. His flexes were killing it. 17 points, 17 points, 22 points. The Bills'
Damn.
defense ran roughshod over the Rams in that Thursday night game. And then he puts up 9 points from his kicker. So, yeah, I mean, he beat my ass. I caught him on a huge week. I mean, even his bench players, 18 points, 19 points, 10 points, 13 points. It's like it was ridiculous. But, yeah, that's how that goes, unfortunately. And so looking at it for next week, as I go to, I think if I just go back, it'll go this week. Let's go give it a look.
I wouldn't mind to get the freaking. I guess I had to download the app onto my laptop.
Yeah, I had to. I put Elijah Mitchell on IR. Who did I pick up? I picked up somebody, didn't I? Oh, I got Wilson. I got Wilson in this league. I can't imagine he's going to score a lot of points. I'm going to keep him on the bench just to have him. I might swap him in here and there. I went ahead and put Brandon Ayuk in because I figured the Niners are going to throw against Seattle, especially if they end up getting down late in the game and they have to go to the air. Ayuk might get a couple of passes. I might get some good late game numbers out of him. But I'm going with Burrow. Burrow, he's going against Dallas. I feel like he's going to knock Dallas' teeth out. DeAndre Swift put up big numbers last week. I'm going to go with him. Aaron Jones hopefully bounces back against Chicago. Jamar, I'm doubling up Burrow and Chase all year long, kid. All year long. And they're playing Dallas. I think that's going to be a big point game for me. Mike Williams, that could be a shootout with Kansas City at Kansas City. Let's see. Dalton Schultz is really – the reason I like Dalton Schultz in this game against Cincinnati is because you've got a backup quarterback with not a lot of experience in rush. He's going to check down a lot to the tight end or go to that safety valve, which is the tight end out the flat. So he may not get a shit ton of yardage, but I feel like he's going to have double-digit receptions and maybe a touchdown. And that'll be fine for me. If he gets somewhere in the 10 to 12 or 13-point range, I'll be happy. Cordell Patterson, he's been a stud for me for a couple of years. Ayuk, like I said, I think it's going to be a bit of a shootout, maybe some late-game stuff. Nyheim Hines against Jacksonville. I think Indy's just better than Jacksonville right now, so late in the game we could get some rushes out of him. Broncos playing Houston. Houston offensively, they don't have anything really going on except for maybe their running back. And I've got my kicker, Greg Joseph, starting against Philly, which kickers don't do much anyway. So what were you saying?
I'm shocked this league doesn't force you to have like 3 kickers and 3 defense, like Justin probably would have done.
Nobody drafts that many defenses. I don't know anybody who's ever drafted 3 defenses.
I mean, I can understand why having 2 defense and 2 kickers. Actually, I think having 2 kickers is stupid. I mean, you can keep one, and if you need to use one for the bye week, just get rid of someone who's unperforming and just keep your kicker for that week.
Well, I string kickers and defenses. It's like I'll ride one out until their bye week comes, and I'll drop them and pick up somebody else. And if their bye week comes, I'll drop them and pick up somebody else. I mean, it's a crapshoot with kickers anyway. Tex is having some problems getting StreamYard to work with him, so he said he's going to be back on tomorrow for our regular show. That's no big deal at all. Thanks for coming on for a little bit, Tex. Like I said, for those of you who are in the YouTube league, I put the link to this in the YouTube, not YouTube, Jesus Christ, the Twitter chat that we have going on. So anybody who's in the league can just go in there and click on that and come in here and talk football for a while. Tour Capture says, if you had a big trade, which player and who would you go for? On this particular team? I don't know. I feel like DeAndre Swift has the most trade value, but do I have a lot of holes that I'd like to fill? Not really. I mean, honestly, if I was to trade DeAndre Swift, I would want at least another solid low-end RB1, and I don't think anybody's going to come off an RB1 unless they're a really deep at wide receiver or at the running back, and I don't think anybody's all that deep at running back fantasy-wise because there's so few there's so few running back ones out there that unless you've got 3 of them, you can't consider yourself to have any depth. So, I don't know. Who would I go after? I would go after some smaller, solid number 2s. I didn't get him in this league, but one of the guys that I really like is Irv Smith, the tight end from Minnesota. He looked good in limited action last year. He was hurt. Also, the other 2 wide receivers that were ahead of him are now gone. Or the other 2 tight ends that were ahead of him are now gone. So he's the number 1 tight end. He's got Kirk Cousins there. Kirk Cousins puts up decent fantasy numbers every year, despite not being able to win the playoffs or even get to the playoffs half the time. He actually puts up good fantasy numbers in the regular season. And I figured that he could be, being the number 1 tight end, he could be the recipient of a lot of those throws. So I would like to have had him in this draft. I actually was about to draft him, and somebody got him 2 picks ahead of me. Never mind, it's right there, Irv Smith. Oh, it was our draft that somebody got him right ahead of me. But yeah, I like this guy. But I forgot I'd even gotten him. I might have to rethink. Who's he playing next week? Philly? I don't know. Maybe. What are the projections? Projected to get 6.6 points. I don't know. I'm gonna see how he goes the rest of the season. Yeah, but with him and Dalton Schultz at tight end, yeah, I'm happy with my tight end positions right now.
Do you know who's...
bench. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, do you know who's playing tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
I do not know who is playing tomorrow. I can go look at the schedule real quick. Let's go look at the scoreboard. That'll probably tell me.
See, that's
nope.
To be honest, that's one of the things that kind of made me lose interest in football when they're having too much NFL football. I mean, Sunday and Monday is cool, but Thursday, I'm like, oh gosh.
The Thursday matchup is the Los Angeles Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, I'm not sure about the Chargers, but I'd probably give it the Chiefs.
That's gonna be a decent game, I think. Chargers are a good team. And they're playing at the Gaia Field.
The Gaia Field?
Yeah, Gaia, Geha. I think it's like a health insurance place. That's what I give Drew shit about all the time. Like, his field is the Gaia Field. And then we actually have 2 Monday night games. We have Tennessee at Buffalo as the early game, and we have Minnesota at Philly. So this is the first 2 Monday night game season of the year. And then, of course, everybody else is playing on Sunday. Or the Niners. Really at right
See, I
here.
think that's
Seattle
okay.
at San Francisco.
I'm okay with like 2 Monday night football games. One like starts at like 6 o'clock or maybe even 5 o'clock Central Time, and the next one probably start at 8, so you can go between one to the other.
Yeah. Let's go back to the fantasy page, though. Take a look at some of the goings on. Yeah, I like my team a lot. Let's see. What am I? Doesn't have projections on here for some reason. Let me see if I click on it. If it gives me projections. Because I feel like I've got a decent enough projection. Because I was actually projected to win my game in this league last week at one point. Projected total. He's projected to beat me by 50 points.
See, I kind of used to like having big score fantasy leagues, but I think it's better when it's like the tops, like you could get. It's like if it's a good game, it's like just a little over 100 points instead of like where it could be potentially up to 200 or upwards. I feel like that's a little too much.
I don't think the score. I don't think the way you keep score in fantasy matters. I mean, I've thought about just trying to put together a league one day and just be like, okay, everything is worth 1 point. So it's like, who cares if you win a game 17-14 and you make it look like a real football score? I mean, just because in the end, you have to pick the players that are going to get your points based on how your scoring system is set up. You have to be a real manager of the numbers of the personnel. You have to know what you're doing. So whether it's a league that's set up for high scores or a league that's set up for modest scores, you still have to manage your team. So,
well, the reason I'm saying, like, I remember when I was commissioner, I would set up any players that broke over 100 yards would get like a bonus.
And you can set that all up. That's fine. But I don't like doing it to where it's just big numbers, because then it's like, what are you really playing for?
Well, that's what I'm
You know what I
saying.
mean? The thing about the lower scores is when you inhibit the scoring a little bit, it makes you become a better fantasy manager. And because like anybody can just go out there and be like, okay, every touchdown's worth 50 points, and every
Yeah,
reception's worth
exactly.
25 points, and every pass caught's worth 15 points, just so you can see these 300 or 400 point games. And it's like, it doesn't really do anything. You still have to pick guys that put up numbers. So
that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, I just don't want to see those big scores. I prefer like our league where it's a little bit more modest, like you said. But as a former commissioner, I learned that now than back then. And I was I was a cheater commissioner, though. I'm not gonna lie.
We know.
I did some shady deals, and I'm not proud of. I did some real bad things on my leagues that I eventually felt so bad I turned it over to my late wife. I was like, "You gotta take it." I mean, I feel drunk with power.
You're drunk with something. Let's see. Let's go to chat and see what's going on. Let's see. Tour Capture said, I had Elijah Mitchell. Also was pissed I dropped him. I wouldn't drop him. Now I want to trade Russell Wilson. Don't trade Russell Wilson. He's one of those players that comes back pissed off. He's going to put up numbers. He's probably going to be a top 8 fantasy quarterback at the end of the year. Same thing for Elijah Mitchell. I mean, look, I put him on the on IR in this league, in my money league, because I have a feeling not only is he going to come back fully healthy, he's going to come back rested down the stretch when they're going to need him the most. So he's going to be healthy and ready to go. He's going to have less mileage on him late in the season come playoff time. Also when the Niners are making a push. So but do his performance and the new coach Wilson all dressed at the press conference, all stood for the award show. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't give a shit how these guys dress when they walk out to the conferences. It's not. Some of that is actually mandated by the league. I know the NBA actually requires people to wear like suit and ties and shit when they're walking into the stadium. Why, I have no idea. I don't think it matters. I mean, as long as they're not wearing anything obscene or offensive, who cares if they're walking and wearing blue jeans and a t-shirt? I don't think that's one of the important things. But yeah, I wouldn't drop Elijah Mitchell. Look, he's going to be out for 2 months, but when he comes back, he's a number 1 running back. He's the star running back on the Niners, and that's a team that's built mostly for running. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to grab Wilson, because I was like, even if he's not putting up the same numbers, he's going to get all the carries. So.
Well, that's what, like in the WWE backstage, if you're not doing anything, they want you to be kind of well dressed or wear their merchandise or whatever, or the gear. So it's not like you show up and they're like in shorts and a tank top,
Well, even then, if they show up in shorts and a tank top, as long as it's not offensive to anybody, who cares? If he walks in like a pair of Daisy Dukes and a halter top, that might be a little much. But it's like most of the guys would just walk in wearing like, I don't know, like a furry hat or some fur coat or whatever. That's exactly how fucking Joe fuck's his name, the Jets. Why am I trying to blank on his name?
Oh, Joe Namath.
Joe Namath used to walk in like fur coats and shit. I mean, is that really so bad? I mean, by today's standards, that would not be acceptable by the league. But it's like a lot of these guys, only a couple of players on every team are going to be flashy when they walk in. The rest of these guys are just going to walk in wearing a pair of pants and a shirt or a team jacket or something. They're not going to. Most of the guys aren't going to do that. So I think that rule was made because of 1 or 2 people who were a little too gaudy, which is kind of unfair to the rest of the guys. Tour Capture asks, who would you trade for Russell Wilson on this team? I'd trade Matt Ryan for him. He's my backup quarterback. Yeah, Matt Ryan. I'd trade Matt Ryan for Russell Wilson. Like I said, if I had Russell Wilson and then Joe Burrow, I would have 2 top 10 quarterbacks at the end of the year. And I'd feel really, really good. And on top of that, after the bye weeks are over and I don't have to worry about having that quarterback as a backup, I could trade that guy for maybe some depth at another position to somebody who needs a better quarterback or wants more quarterback depth, who just wants the quarterback period, and have more depth going into the playoffs. Because that's usually what I'll do is like once I get through the bye weeks, because it doesn't say where the bye weeks are on here. I think Joe Burrow's bye week is like week 9. So it's like I'll use Matt Ryan week 9, and then after the bye week is over, if Ryan's got a bye week coming up, or if I'm not worried about Burrow getting injured or anything like that, I'll go ahead and trade Matt Ryan to whoever wants him. And if nobody wants him, I'll probably just drop him and grab somebody else who might get some carries down the stretch. Because why have 2 quarterbacks after week, was it 13 or something like that as the last bye week? It's like I'll take my chances and have that extra bit of depth on my roster. That's the way I usually do things.
Well, I got a question for you, Frank. Nowadays, especially caused the whole concussion situation in the NFL, where they're trying to make everything safe. It seems like there's more players getting more injuries nowadays than before that.
Guys are getting bigger. It's like, I mean, guys like me were playing free safety back in the 1970s. I mean, the guys that were, like 5'11", 6 feet tall, which is about where I'm at, weighing, a few hundred pounds where I'm at. Guys like me played football back in the 70s. Now these guys are 6'5", 6'6". They're 240 of pure muscle and like 0% body fat, and they run outrageous speeds and they hit super fucking hard. So, I mean, you have 2 items that are 250 pounds, throw them at each other as hard as you can. That's what's happening. So, I mean, the game's getting faster, the game's getting bigger, the game's getting harder. These guys hit, that's what happens. There's no way to make anything completely safe. I mean, people still get in cars and drive around racetracks at 200 or 300 miles an hour. I mean, there's a reason why we don't do that on the highway. They don't let you do it on the highway. It's dangerous. but you do it in this contained environment to where you greatly lessen the opportunity for things like that to happen. However, things still happen. So, cars still wreck. People can still sometimes be severely injured or even in some cases killed. So, yeah, I mean, it's just whatever.
It just seems like more of the players are out more often than they used to be.
Well, also part of it is that it's not like it was back in the 60s and 70s and before that, where it's like we just go out there and play. We go out there and play hurt. Nowadays, because guys back then were making a few $100,000 a year. Guys now are making a few $100 million over the course of a contract. So these teams are investing $20 million a year in their quarterback. If that guy says my shoulder's a little sore, they get super fucking worried, because it's like, what does that soreness mean? Do we need to sit him out? Do we need to make sure we have him? Because you don't pay this guy to go out there and beat his own brains out anymore. You pay him to be there to help you win the important game. So that's one of the reasons why they're way more delicate about the health stuff. And on top of that, the concussion stuff has got them all worried. So whenever a guy gets hit hard enough, they have to pull him out and make sure he's not going to die or get a concussion or some shit like that.
I remember back in the 90s, and I swear to God, it's like every other week that Troy Aikman would get a concussion.
Well, but he comes from that generation of guys who just played. They just played hard all the time, and they didn't stop. He was one of the last of that kind of generation. And even though he made money, that was kind of just the way they did it. He grew up in kind of the way I did. If you die, you walk it off and you go back out there and do the next play. There's no reason to not go out there and do it. But nowadays it's different.
He's a lucky man, because people who has concussions, you see what people what happened if they have CTE. I was afraid that Troy Aikman would do something bad, because
everybody handles it differently. So, because look, Troy Aikman's probably had a bunch of concussions. There's probably a lot of players that have played a long time in the NFL that have had some serious concussion problems.
Yeah.
But some of these guys, their physiologies they're all different. So some of these guys can handle it. Some of these guys can handle it. Other guys, they get one concussion and their brain is messed up for life because they're just wired differently. Whatever it is, I don't know. Drew obviously just made the move that's going to help win him the league. He just picked up Cooper Rush. Just wait. Yes, sure. I say that what's going to end up happening is Cooper Rush is going to come out next week. He's going to throw for like 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. I'm going to feel like an ass. But yeah, TSS says the game is faster and the shoulder pads are much smaller than they were back in the day. They're much smaller, but they're made of different stuff.
They
now.
are.
They're made differently now, so they can be a little smaller, but they're made of different materials. They're built differently that help with the science of absorbing impact and dispersing energy and things like that. So that's the trade-off. Personally, I would like to go back to bigger pads, especially for some of these like wideouts that are taking the shots across the middle. I mean, every time I see a wide receiver run a slant, I'm just like, I could be watching this guy die right now. Because I mean, dude, that slant, I mean, it's a great play, but God, if you got a linebacker that's sitting on it, or one of the free safeties reads it, you catch the ball and you go to turn up field, and there is, like I said, there's a 330 or 340 pound man made of pure muscle who's 6'5". He's going to try to wipe you out.
Yeah,
and I don't know that there's any pad that you can make that makes that not hurt. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's like you said. I mean, all they can do is evolve the equipment. I mean, that's what they do all the time. I mean, they're trying to find ways to make stuff safer. I mean, I'm all down for that. But, I mean, there's certain things, football, when they change certain rules, like my biggest gripe is when they go for the extra point. Like, oh, yeah, we got to go 15 yards back. I like it when it was on the 2-yard line. Like, oh, they might go for 2 or they'll kick it for 1. I mean, you just didn't know which way they were going to go. But when they made that change, it was kind of stuff like that's what turned me off.
Well, rule changes are going to happen all the time. It's just a matter of whether they're good rule changes that actually help the league. But is that for me to say? I don't know. But let's see. Sivyardi 101 asked the question: Eli Moore or Josh Palmer? Well, let's go look real quick as I go to the players section. Player news.
So, how long have you been on Twitch?
I've had a Twitch account for a long time. I just haven't had a chance to multi-platform broadcast.
Yeah,
because I lost confidence in StreamYard, the stuff that Joe and Drew use. I lost confidence in that because it kept screwing up. And then Stream Elements, I was obviously having those problems because my computer's kind of shitty. I am not at the right player thing. I should go to this one. But I switched to this because, like I said, it's easier on my computer until I can get one that's actually built for the streaming and stuff like that. But this is the one thing that allows me to do the multi-platform stuff. And I'm like, well, while I've got it, I'm going to go ahead and use it. So I'm going to go ahead and go across Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And
why not?
And see if that helps grow the channel a little bit, because I'm eager. Again, 500 subscribers, charity stream for the Abandoned Pet Project. So send the word out, you guys. Again, for those of you who have popped up in here because we're talking about some fantasy stuff, I usually talk a lot of movies, but I'm trying to grow the channel out a little bit. So once a week, I'll probably come in here and go over some fantasy football stuff, take your guys' questions, like the one that's on the screen right now. Eli Moore is the one I want to look at. Ooh, let's go there. Eli Moore.
I was thinking about trying a little bit of Twitch, but I'm afraid I hear they're a lot more stricter than YouTube is.
Did I spell his name wrong, didn't I? No, I didn't.
Because a lot of times I would say, I mean, honestly, I don't want to be like, have to censor myself.
Joshua Palmer. If I put Josh Palmer in there, it's not right. It's Joshua Palmer. It's so stupid. But let's see. Josh Palmer. Somebody's got him. I don't know who that is. He's playing at Kansas City. Again, it's going to be a bit of a shootout. What's his projected points? 12 points? That's not bad. Let's see. Eli Moore. Get off there. Moore. I forgot they have a compare player thing.
Ugh.
There we go.
So I got a question for you.
I honestly, I almost want to take Moore over Cleveland because I don't know. A lot of it's going to depend on who's playing quarterback. God, Cleveland's just not good. I would take Elijah Moore over Cleveland because Cleveland's just so bad. I feel like if anybody's going to have a big game where they pop at least once in a year, Elijah Moore might have it. And look, either way, he's going to have either the veteran Flacco throwing to him on a defense that's just not very good, or he's going to have Wilson throwing to him, who's young and hopefully healthy. If Flacco's starting, I'm definitely taking Moore against Cleveland. That makes more sense to me.
I got a question for you, Frank.
What's up?
Which game last week did you feel was an upset?
Was it upset?
Yeah.
Oh, it was by far. To me, it was Seattle and Denver. Seattle beating Denver. I thought for sure
That was a
Denver was
good
going to
game.
walk in there and roll them. Yeah, I thought for sure Denver was going to walk in there and roll them.
I don't know. I mean, Seattle's a lot of times is a good team, so especially when they're at home. But hey, I'm gonna take off because I'm feel like my coughing is gonna have those coughing fits. But I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, that's no problem, brother.
I'll talk to you later.
I'll probably wrap it up here in a little bit anyway.
All right, you take it easy, buddy.
All right, brother. Later.
See ya.
But yeah, I'm definitely taking probably Josh Palmer against Cleveland. I just looking at it right there. I know that. I'm sorry, I'm taking Elijah Moore against Cleveland, not Palmer. But Cleveland sucks. Kansas City could be a bit of a shootout. I mean, I don't know. It could go either way. I think Elijah Moore is the easier play because he's probably going to get easy points against Cleveland. We'll get them early, though, probably, because they're probably going to be up early against Cleveland. But again, potential shootout against Kansas City. So I don't know. You're probably not bad either way. I'm taking the easy road. I'm taking Elijah Moore. That's kind of what I think. But let's see. Getting back to some what you guys are saying. TSS2 says Aikman retired because of a neck injury. Yes, he had some concussions and it may have contributed to his decision, but that wasn't his reason. Yeah, that he'd been around a while anyway. What else did he have to prove? He wasn't on the verge of breaking any records, I don't think, at the end of his career. He had won a couple of Super Bowls. He was a guaranteed Hall of Famer. Why push it at that point? You know what I mean? Let's see. Yeah, Drew's saying exactly what I'm saying. You get paid that much money, you sign up for the risk, but they're an investment. I mean, players are an investment by a team. You pay a guy $25 million a year as an investment because you want him to come in, win you championships, sell you tickets, things like that. That's what it is. So I get them wanting to protect their investment. That makes perfect sense to me. Let's see. Casey admitted he wants to say the N-word without losing stream. Confirmed. Yeah, Casey needs to stop that. And TSS says, Casey, unless you're a hot tub streamer, don't get any ideas. Yeah, no Casey in hot tub. Yeah, so as you guys can see right there on the thing, I am 0-1 in the money league right there, and 0-1 in the YouTube league right there. So not a good week to start for me. I'll go ahead and get rid of that because we're pretty much done. Tour Capture says, Frank, do you gamble on football or just fantasy football? I might drop the odd, 20 or 50 or whatever on like the Super Bowl, but as far as gambling and stuff like that, no. The closest I've come to gambling on football for a long, long time is like weekly football pools, stuff like that, but I don't think anybody really does those anymore. Nobody where I work does them because they're more of an office thing, and there's not so many people that I deal with at my office, so that's probably not a real thing. I know my dad used to work for the local city. He used to have the football pool there that he used to get into every week. But no, I don't generally gamble. Again, maybe $20 in the Super Bowl here and there, but no, that kind of gambling is not really my thing. If I'm going to gamble, I'd much rather sit down with some friends around the poker table and throw some cards around, drink some beers, and talk some shit and over the poker table. That's kind of the only gambling I really do anymore. They do have a lot of riverboats and stuff near me, and I haven't been to them in years. I used to go once in a while, but I don't know. As I got older and had kids, I had better things to spend my money on. But that seems like a pretty good place to wrap things up. Again, thanks all you guys for coming and hanging out. Just wanted to do a quick thing. Maybe around this time next week, probably another one. Maybe some more guys from the YouTube league will pop on and we'll talk some more shit and go over what happens in week 2 of fantasy football. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Thank you to Tour Capture, TSS, Gatekeeper Drew, who is also watching on Twitch apparently. What's up, Drew? Let's see. Tour capture. Sevyarny, I know I mispronounced that name badly, who was watching on Twitch. Thank you very much. Again, some other people that were in here early. I know Tex was in here. Casey was in the chat early. Nikki J. What's up, Nikki J? 420, throw it up. Frederico was in here. What's going on? Bullsy was in here. What's up, Bullsy? Vinny Nguyen, thank you for coming in and checking us out. Yeah, so don't forget to subscribe, hit the like, do all that cool stuff. It helps out YouTubers because YouTube does absolutely nothing to help small YouTubers like me. So word of mouth from you guys is what's going to help out a lot in spreading the word. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. I will see you guys tomorrow as we go over all the happenings of D23 and break all that stuff down with the usual crew, with Coro, with Jeremy. Probably Tex will be on here as well. So come join us again for that tomorrow. We'll see you guys later. Adios.